Alright, so we're going to be working on our blending skills with pastel. And you either will have the chalk pastel or the oil pastel. Right in front of me here are the chalk pastel. These ones are a little bit more dusty, they smear easier. So, depending on what you've used before, you might like one more than the other. But we're going to do these blending pastel worksheet. So on the top here you see that there's a smooth blending and different types of colors. So we're going to try to smooth blend a monochromatic color scheme. So that's blue, and then we're going to have some white, and then light blue, regular blue, and dark blue. So I'm going to start with finding the colors I need. I'm starting with this blue and this one and a white. And let's see, maybe that one. Here's another type of blue. So we have a lot of various types. So smooth blending is you're going to add some down. And I'm gonna just very lightly, if you push hard, you're gonna have pastel starting to just sit on your paper, and it doesn't do anything except for fall off and blow around. So you don't need to push hard at all, especially with printer paper. Printer paper, the pastel will easily slide off of there. So now I'm just gonna slightly overlap my white and blue. Now I'm going to pick a light blue and then a regular blue. Maybe this one? Did I use that one? This one. And then we're going to transition to a dark blue. So you have to be kind of careful with how you meet the colors and how they overlap. And now you're just going to go ahead and smear and see what you end up with. Be gentle while you do this. You don't want to mix them all together and get them super muddy. You're going for a smooth transition from one color to another. You don't want a stripe. That's what it means by smooth, is you have a nice transition from one color to another. And now the next one will be stippling, and you're using warm colors, and stippling means dots. So we're starting with yellow, using orange and red. So it doesn't say specifically what type, but just yellows, oranges, and reds. So stippling is dots. So I'm just gonna make little dots. And when you do stippling, you don't actually smear it, you don't blend it together, you just dot it. And the closer the dots are together, the darker it seems. So once you meet a color and you want to transition from one to another, you just have dots far apart. And then as you want it to get darker, you put them closer together. Let me use this red. So the red would be far apart here when it gets into the orange, but then closer together as it's over here. And that's stippling. And the next one is hatching. And hatches are actually lines. So you're like hatch, 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 hatch. So you're going one way with all of your lines, with all of your hatches. And we're going to start with light yellow, and we're going to go to violet, and then dark blue. They're opposites, yellow and blue. So we have to be careful. It's going to make kind of a greenness. Okay, so yellow and purple would make brown. So you have to be careful not to mix them too much, or it'll be an icky brown color. And that's a thing to worry about when you're using pastels. It's a lot like paint. So some pastel artists consider themselves painters because you can mix colors to make other colors with these. So when getting into contact with opposites, yellow and purple, you have to be careful not to overblend or you'll end up with a brown. Same thing with orange and blue. That'll make brown. If you imagine a color wheel, you just think of the opposites. Red and green would make brown. So that's why I'm having you practice with hatching with yellow and purple so that you can see the best way to get those colors to meet without being muddy and brown. So hatching are lines like this. And now we're gonna get purple and see what happens. Now be careful. It's just like the stippling. Farther apart is lighter, closer together is darker. And then we'll go to a dark blue here. Now dark blue and purple, they're nice. You don't have to worry too much about how they're gonna mix. Your hatching lines can go any way. Mine are going at an angle. You can go up and down, side to side, and as long as you're consistent. And now smooth from yellow to violet to dark blue. And this is where you're gonna learn that when they mix, they turn brown. I like to have a finger for each color a lot of times so that I try not to, my pinky is still clean. And see, now you've got a brown happening. Now the circles, you're gonna want to shade these in a circular motion. You can pick one of these color schemes that you've already done to do some practice getting a sphere. I'm going to choose this warm one for sure for one of them. I like that. So pick a light source. I'm going to decide that my light source is coming from the top here. The sun is right here. So the highlights would be going on the sphere this way. So you would want your lighter colors to be on the top. And usually I like to start with the darker one. So actually I'm going to go to this red. And the shadow here would be here. And I'm gonna do a smooth blending instead of a stipple for my worm, just to get a good feel for a smooth sphere. Red, and then an orange in the middle. And then a yellow for the highlight. And I'm just gonna, oh, see, now I had blue on my finger, and that's a good learning thing for you, is you're gonna wanna make sure you've got a clean finger. There's a point where you're just gonna have to stop, wash your hands, and come back to it. Or if you have a paper towel by you too, that's a good thing to have. Okay. So that's my experiment with the yellow worm on the sphere. Now I'm gonna keep working on this. I'll maybe do this hatching for one. Let's do I'm gonna do the hatching with the yellow, the purple, and the blue. Hatching is a good strategy for opposites on the color wheel. Now I accidentally did this backwards. My light source here is here on this one. And that's okay. I'm just practicing. Okay, and then I'm going to give another shot with maybe this one with the blue and the white. That looks kind of fun. I'm gonna move my light source over here. Okay, so I'm going to be giving you guys Q-tips as well to help you with this. So you're not only just using your fingers. Q-tip is nice because you can get a little more control with your blending. So this is just a practice blending worksheet, and I'd like you to do it and take a picture of it and submit it on Classroom, and you'll do that and upload it with your final pastel drawing as well. All right, let me know if you have any questions.